Ollie Hissbox is the innovative founder of Ollie's, a brand renowned for its healthier and delicious snack alternatives. His entrepreneurial journey began with passion for creating nutritious snacks that don't compromise on flavour. With a commitment to high-quality ingredients and wellness, Ollie has successfully positioned his brand as a favourite among health-conscious consumers and major retailers. Known for his dynamic personality and advocacy for healthy living, Ollie has driven the brand's significant growth and success. His story is one of passion and perseverance, transforming a simple idea into a thriving business and making Ollie's a household name in the snack industry. Welcome back to another episode of Getting to Grow. On this week we have Ollie Hissbox, who is the founder of Ollie's, who do the most amazing pretzels, olives, and loads more to come.
Loads more to come.
Super excited to have you on because I'm a massive fan of your pretzels. I literally have them all the time. I'm very, very lucky, obviously, knowing Ellie.
That's true.
So she is very kind with samples and I get them frequently. So they're delicious and they fuel my afternoons all the time.
You've got someone on the inside.
I do have someone on the inside. She's great. So, what were you doing before? Tell me your journey up until, I guess, the light bulb moment.
Okay, so I was working in GP surgery. So I started off going to university, did a degree in neuroscience. So
wow.
Yeah, no, I just had no idea what I wanted to do when I went to uni. I wanted to go to uni, and I was like, the brain's kind of cool, why not just study that? So I liked science at the time.
You must have been super clever though, because not many people can just go study neuroscience.
I don't know, well, I'm not saying I was pretty nerdy. I was like quite committed to my work.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, neuroscience was very interesting. Finished that and kind of thought I actually want to be a doctor. So that was the path that I was going down. So after the first degree, I started working in GP surgery as a healthcare assistant, applied to a postgraduate medicine degree. And it was at that point when I came up with the idea of the olives. At university, I always have a little black book of ideas. I'd write stuff down and then end up going out, not pursuing the idea, and then 2 years later you see it pop up. One idea actually I came up with at university, which it still hurts now. We called it Garm Tree, which is now, was Depop, now Vinted. So we kind of came up with this idea of the Garm Tree. We were just like, we had all these clothes at university that we weren't wearing. We were obviously cash-strapped students wanting to get money. And we were like, eBay isn't really that good for clothes. So we came up with Garm Tree, but we didn't do anything about it.
Oh my gosh, that would have been amazing.
But we got olives.
You got
and pretzels.
You got olives.
Yeah.
So why olives?
So why olives? Well, plain and simply, I went to the local supermarket. I looked at the olive fixture, no colour, no character, no innovation. I loved Propercorn and what they did. I kind of just saw myself thinking, like, why is nobody trying to bring a brand to olives? It's just such a dormant, boring category. My name is Ollie, I like olives. It really was that simple. I got up the next day, went to the local supermarket, bought a load of olives, started marinating in my kitchen. And I just basically went around with sandwich bags of these random flavours of olives to my mates. Like, what do you think of these? Like gherkins and pesto and olives. There was one like sweet ginger chili spring onion, which was unreal. And yeah, I then started on a market stall in West London at Duck Pond. All these hand-drawn little characters which my brother did. Very, very much startup vibes. Had basically just a tub of olives marinating in my parents' garden, which I think food, health and safety would be on me for. And yeah, just started selling on the market stall, and immediately just loved the idea of trying to engage with consumers, building a brand, building a product. And yeah, there was an awkward conversation I had with my parents, which was, I don't want to be a doctor, I want to sell olives. And I think they've got over it. I hope so.
I mean, you're still here.
Still here.
So doing it. It's so funny. I love the garlic and the basil ones. These are the ones on is it BA?
Those are BA and EasyJet.
Yeah, I was going to say I get these on BA, and it's so, because I buy them all the time, I love these ones.
Yeah.
But when I bring them into the office and then I snack and I'm just sitting there working, people are like, it's such a middle class snack. Someone snacks on olives, and I'm like, yeah, because they're delicious.
Yeah.
They're pretty local. They're so young.
Yeah.
They're really, really good. So no, it's just funny how olives are seen as quite a middle class thing to have, but
you'd be amazed. When I started, you would get Like everybody's so like love or hate with olives, I found. And you would go to samplings and people would be like, oh, I hate olives, I hate olives. Like, how can you hate olives? The interesting thing is, I think it's like the older generation that actually don't like olives. The kids that you have coming through actually do. And I just think people grew up with crap olives. And now there are actually good quality olives coming through. Like interestingly, like loads of our consumers are kids when it comes to olives. But yeah, it's one of those things.
Delicious.
Yeah.
What's your kind of like vision and mission with Ollie's? Like, how did you set out with like a big, we want to make snacking better for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the olives happened, and at the start we thought we were going to be the olive brand. And we started pushing out into chilled pots, which we got into Sainsbury's, we started doing bulk, going into restaurants and delis. And we very quickly realised that if we weren't manufacturing those products ourselves, we were just going to get gobbled up by the big guys. There's huge olive factories across the UK that are selling into, doing the own label for all the supermarkets and just selling bulk into the restaurants. So we knew we had something really good with the pouches and the concept of big branding, really hammering on the quality. So the big thing with the olives, they're unpasteurised. So from what we know, we launched the world's first unpasteurised pouch of olives, which essentially means you don't heat treat them. You take what we were selling on the market still, put it in a bag, it's got a good shelf life, like a bag crisp. So it is and was something super unique. So once we thought that chilled in bulk wasn't going to be a thing, we were like, we can't just sell pouches of olives. I think Ollie's olives feel bigger than this. So that's when we evolved into Ollie's. We brought out the pretzels, and it's kind of just led from one thing to another. I think I'm a big product guy. I love the innovation. I love the NPD side of stuff. The pretzels we came across over in the States. There's a pretzel crisp over there, and it's literally everywhere. And I've never seen this product before. I came back, couldn't find it in the UK, couldn't find it in Europe. Eventually managed to find a manufacturer for them, and then we launched them in 2020. And that's when we kind of like, right, we were Ollie's olives, we've now got these pretzels, we had like a little foray into nuts as well, and we're like, okay, what do we stand for? And when you dig into the data, when it comes to healthy snacking, it is mental how many people perceive healthy snacks to not be tasty. So there was, I think it was in the Grocer a couple of years ago, they said that 80% of people that choose healthy snacks perceive them to not be tasty. So bearing in mind that taste is the number one driving factor that people will come back to any food or drink, and there is 80% of people that want to eat healthy snacking aren't getting the taste they need. So I guess our mission now is trying to take that 80% of people which think healthy snacks are not tasty, flipping on its head and making 80% perceiving healthy snacks to be tasty. So that takes us to our cheesy tagline, which is health of the heart, flavors of the full. Like, we are a taste-led company that will wrap everything that we do with a health element to it. We're careful not to describe ourselves as a healthy snacking brand.
Yeah.
Because taste is the big thing for us.
Yeah.
And one thing we always guarantee is that if you picked up our pretzels or our olives and had something of the same type, our taste would always be better than theirs. And yeah, so that's the thing. We're trying to merge health and taste, and if you can do that, then I think you're on to something pretty big.
Yeah, I was reading something the other day about taste and how it is the number one key driver as to why people continue to buy your products, and it's so important to taste good. Even if I think I've said this in a podcast a couple of weeks ago about how there's like so many things quite trend driven, and you know, brands will hop on that because it's vegan or if it's gluten free, but actually they're just hopping on it because it's vegan or because it's gluten free. Like, it doesn't taste good at all.
I think whilst I won't name names, I think there's been quite a few big brands that actually don't really see that much anymore, especially within savoury snacking.
Yeah.
And I think they rode this like healthy snacking wave, which is still obviously booming, but they were just going for like, let's have low cal, like you don't have the flavour with it, and they probably had a real good heyday, but like if it ultimately doesn't taste good, like people will just, like, you get over it pretty quick.
Yeah, it's happened with Prime. I was actually reading this morning in the Grocer how that they had 149 million sales yesterday. God, that'd be amazing. Last year, saying like Q1 last year to Q1 this year, they saw like a minus 75% like drop in sales value, and now it's like being reduced in Tesco for 13p.
I'm still yet to try
Me
the
too.
Prime.
Me too, I'm still get to try bottle pie. Maybe I'll get them on.
Actually, yeah, if they're discounted, maybe just pile up.
Yeah.
Get it in
But
there.
like, it just shows how it obviously isn't tasting great, because otherwise it would still be on this trajectory of growing.
You
But
think, yeah, I mean, that's just crazy fat, isn't it?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Where do you source your olives?
Greece,
They're Greek.
that's the motherland.
I mean, that is where you get
Got
the
to be.
best.
Wow, you ask a few, you obviously got to be careful who you're talking to, because the Spanish are very patriotic when it comes to their olives. Everyone loves their own olives, but
See, yeah, but I would just think Greece, because I think of Greek olive oil
yeah,
as well. So I just
Yeah.
think like Greece is known for their olives and like feta and
yeah,
delicious Greek salad, which is like so. No, sorry, I think I'm a Greece girl.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a good place to
Yeah.
be.
So what flavours do you have? Do you have
So-
these are 3 olive?
Yeah, those are the 3. So these are literally like the OG product. So back in 2017, this is what we launched it, and it hasn't really changed that much since. Obviously, the branding has evolved over time. But yeah, we've got garlic and basil, lemon thyme, chili and rosemary. They're all green Half-Leafy olives, which I think is the pinnacle when it comes to olives. But yeah, they're just delicious. I mean, back in the day, I was just an olive lover that didn't want to buy a pot of olives, and it was just annoying that I couldn't find a good quality snack olive.
Yeah.
And that was it really, and that was the whole reason really we went with the snack pouches.
And how did you go about like sourcing the olives? Like, did you take a trip out to Greece? I can put a funny story for you.
Well, I just think I'm quite simple-minded when it comes to these things, and I was like, I pursued the olive dream for a long time. So not many people know, but I actually went after it for about 7 or 8 months. I then stopped because I was like, this isn't fun. I was doing it by myself. I wasn't getting any traction. I then actually went to a talk by Pippa from Pippa Nut, and I remember she mentioned about something about like follow your gut, follow your hunches. And when I started doing the olives, I was getting loads of people in the industry saying, don't do snacking, it's low margin, it's really tough. Do chilled, that's where the volume is. Do bulk, that's where the margin is. And I was like, yeah, but the opportunity is snacking. So I didn't follow what I wanted to do. So then when I basically ended up like dreaming about olives, thinking about olives all the time. And when I settled on the idea that I was like, right, let's just push into snacking, let's go after this pouch which we've been talking about. I just Googled olive factories, and I ended up calling every single one I could find. Funny story is that I ended up calling Olives a Towel and getting passed through their switchboard to their founder. And I was like, yeah, hi, my name's Ollie, I'm just like making some olives at home, like, do you know I can put them in a pouch? And he was like, how the hell am I talking to you?
Yeah.
Like, where have you come from? But we ended up finding a factory in Greece who liked the idea of the concept of doing an unpasteurised batch of olives and actually been looking into it. And then I met with them in the UK, started working with them on the recipe, then flew out to Greece and saw it getting done there, and away you go. So yeah, it was Bermondsey warehouse, 2017. I had 36,000 pouches of olives delivered, 12,000 of each flavour, and I remember going there with my dad and just being like, right, there's a lot of olives here. Yeah, and it was like, right, look, if we can sell these, and there's something there. So I ended up just selling, it was just sell.
And how did you go about selling? Like, was it literally like independent trade at the time, and out the back of a van being like, this deli will take them, right, there's 10 cases for you.
Yeah, and that's like still to this day, like I absolutely love that part of the business. It was just a matter of just going around and researching different delis, different hotels, different pubs, and I would just basically ring fence different areas around London, just get in a car and drive around and just knock on doors, get on the phone. Yeah, just anyone that I thought. The interesting thing, and it's still a sales strategy that we use today, and again, it's very simple, is wherever a pack of crisps sits, these can sit.
Yeah.
Same with pretzels, same with the olives. So literally when it comes to vending machines, cinemas, hotel mini bars, delis, supermarkets, whatever it is. So I was literally just calling everyone and anyone trying to sell them pouches of olives.
Yeah. And then how did you, because now you obviously stocked in some big fat retailers.
Yeah, got some.
Which is really exciting.
Yeah, it's fun.
How did you go about, talk us through the process of getting listed with a retailer? How did that transform your business in terms of revenue, but also I guess process? You're going from selling X amount to suddenly X amount.
Sure. So I think the lucky thing, which again is probably what I would always recommend to anybody starting up their own food business, is try and outsource as much as you can at the start. It obviously means that it hits your margins, but it just means you can just focus on selling. So we launched the Pouch of Olives. It was at the Specialty Fine Food Fair 2017, and we were really lucky. We ended up landing Brewdog, Ocado, Eurostar really quickly. Again, it was great because we were just getting into all these different channels, and then we knocked on the Sainsbury's door, and April 2018 we got a listing in Sainsbury's, and it was at the time when they were kind of just looking at doing the future brand scheme, so I think they were having a bit more of a focus on up and coming brands, so we basically timed that really well. And then got into Sainsbury's, and supermarkets are an interesting one. I think you see it as the holy grail, but it's like you get the listing, you're like, okay, now you've got to do the work, because you're sitting on this shelf, especially as an olive product against the core snacking lines, crisps, whatever else there is out there now, and you got to get people picking up the product. And I think like you as a founder or somebody in the business, you love the product, you know that the product tastes great, but you just forget that somebody is so trained to pick up what they want and what they like and what they've tried, that you got to get people sampling. You need to be going around to stores and make sure it's merchandised correctly. Like compliance is just all over the place when it comes to supermarkets. So it's great.
So hard.
It's so hard, but it is great. I mean, obviously, getting that stamp of approval is massive. But yeah, it's hard work getting the supermarkets pumping for sure.
And I know we're talking a lot about taste, but in terms of other snacking brands that are out there now, there's, as you said, it's a very saturated market, and there's a lot out there. What sets Ollie's apart? I mean, I'm going to answer my own question here, but I personally think like your branding is phenomenal. So like, you really stand out on show. Like, you're super colourful, you're super fun. I would pick you up and go, oh, interesting. And another thing, and I'm not necessarily like super high on this. Like that's definitely not the wrong. I'm not super hot on this, is what I'm saying. But like the calorie call up things, if I'm thinking, oh, maybe I shouldn't have that crisp, but like 100 million calories, great. I'll pick. That for me would be another thing that I would like look at. But what would you say, kind of obviously other than that, branding and taste points? It's very hard for you to answer.
The branding's been a real key one for us. So Bucks and 32 are an agency that we've used, and they're good friends of ours from the start, and we've literally used them for everything. So like branding was always going to be a real key thing for us. I mean, I think every single food and drink business is going to say that the taste and quality is there, but I think you have to have a point of difference when you're coming into these categories. So ultimately, yes, it tastes great, it looked great, but with the olives, there was nobody doing a pouched olive which actually came with the quality that we had. So we had that kind of piece of innovation there. Same with the pretzels, nobody was doing thins in the UK. It was literally just over in the States. So it was Penn State and Own Label were the only, and still really the only competitors that we have within the pretzel space. But we had to bring something different. And I think in our strategy, what sets us apart is that we really try to go after dormant categories, something that's tired, something that people know but have kind of just left behind or they don't think about. So yeah, I mean, it's you've got to have a point of difference, you've got to have the taste, and you've got to look good.
Definitely got to look good.
You got to look good.
I think that's the first thing, isn't it? Because they haven't been able to try your product yet. So it's like what can quickly get their attention. It's usually vibrant colours and stuff like that. So no, I think I love it. It's really, really cool.
No, we do as well. No, we're big fans of it. Big fans.
It's just like a rainbow.
It is. Well, I don't know if I said it. What we'll do is we'll send you a sample box. So this is also a random thing to mention, but sampling when you send to buy is obviously so key. Obviously with Coconut Collaborative, I'm sure you guys are hot on it, but that's exactly what we had kind of envisaged when we produced the brand, is this pretzel rainbow. So we've got this long case, so that when you open it, it's just like, so you've got all these colours lined up.
Nice. And it literally has such an impact.
It does.
It really has an impact. Or like if one brand has like one colour, it's always that colour, and liver breathes that colour. Like Trip with its pastels, Trip for being.
Big time.
Yeah, it's pastel and really stands out on shelf. So I love it. It's really cool.
Thank you.
So when you first started, were you lucky enough to kind of have friends and family around? How did the investment go, or was it basically like I'd save some cash and there was like I have no idea but like how much dollars cost? Was it quite low barrier to entry in terms of like investment you need up front?
Yeah, so mum and dad helped me out at the start. So basically I needed I think that was the first stage was I got basically mum and dad gave me a little bit of cash to start buying bulk olives and marinating them at home.
Looking out their window, look at my son,
what's going on? Could have been a doctor, like what are you doing in the garden?
Marinating olives in the garden.
Yeah, but then we so at the first lucky connection that we had was that a good friend of mine actually made frozen pizza dough, and they used to sell the frozen pizza dough to a lot of the big pizza restaurants, and with that they were selling bulk olives into them as well. It was just a side product. So I was very lucky to go under their wing. So they had a factory out in West London, so I started manufacturing in there, which was great. When it came to the pouches, that obviously came with a big upfront cost of the pouches themselves. So when I ordered 36,000, I can't remember how much I had to pay for it at the start, but pay up front when you do something new with a new manufacturer. And I did, so I somehow managed to land this investment. I think I again was very lucky on the timing of it. So are you familiar with SEIS investment?
Yeah.
So that's essentially the 50% SEIS businesses, you get 50% of your investment back through tax breaks. So when it gets to the end of the tax year and investors have money which they haven't allocated yet, it's always a good time to try and raise investment because they want to use that allocation up. So I ended up speaking to a company called the Startup Funding Club in February, and they invited me in, and I didn't realise I was about to do a pitch. So I just got invited in and I thought it was just a warm-up chat. And I walk into this room, they've got like their FD, their CEO, all just sitting there, and they're like, okay, yeah, go ahead with the presentation. And I was like, don't have a presentation? They're like, do you have any products? I was like, don't have any products. So, in hindsight, it's quite funny. I think that's what paid off because we ended up just having a really good conversation, which was, it was kind of no pressure. So luckily, after that very good conversation, I then did have to send them product and give them a bit more, but I then managed to get 50 grand investment from that. And that funded the first order, and that's where we got it rolling.
So tell me about the story that we touched on, where you didn't get the investment, where investment pulled out, and it was a very sad time for you on the way home.
Yeah, it was very, very sorry state of affairs in Islington. So we made the mistake of putting all of our eggs in one basket.
All of your olives in one tub.
All of our olives in one tub. And everything was going well. We got sent the contract. I kind of look at myself now, and I made the mistake of probably trying to negotiate too hard at that point. And they went quiet. And then all of a sudden, this was just before Christmas, and we were at a point where we didn't need the money, and they kind of just went cold for a couple of weeks. I was like, oh God, that's so good. And then I just got a call from them saying, we pulled the whole deal. And I literally had the contract, I just had to sign it, and I tried to push back one more time, and they just saw that as like, nah. So they pulled the whole investment. And that was a pretty dark moment. I remember we had an office in Angel, and basically just going down to the local Waitrose and buying a bag of chocolate and just sitting on the floor and just chunking my way through it.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It's funny though, it's like these lessons and whatever happened and what you learn from it, I think it's probably like, I unfortunately learned the hard way. So, and my colleagues can vouch for this, I always like to really mess up. And then it's how I learn. So maybe like that for you were like, you shouldn't have pushed back that one more time. That now going forward, you can be like, I know when no is no, I know that I've done my negotiation, I can sit there. So I think you learn so much from these experiences, and like if you hadn't had that, you might not have been able to like get to where you are now, and stuff might have changed. So like although they're awful at the time and they're gut-wrenching and horrendous, but actually like, it's life teaching you things, isn't it?
It is, and I'm not a perfectionist at all. Thankfully, there are other people in the business who are, because otherwise it would just be a horror show. But I'm just a big believer in like you can't get perfection.
Yeah.
Just get 80% of the way there, and ultimately you're going to make tweaks the whole time. So get to a point when you're 80% happy and just go. And yeah, that's why you need to make mistakes. It's
Absolutely.
good to make mistakes. Yeah.
And how do you kind of like approach innovation for your own BD? So when you had your olives and then you thought about pretzels, how did that kind of like process come about?
Again, it's we're always kind of like, we always keep an eye out. And I think we've probably got two different sides of the business. Half love the innovation, half like, can we just focus? Like, we've got a good range here, let's just push it. And I just enjoy like thinking of new products and stuff like that. So I constantly have to get reined in. But we've actually built up, we call the Taste Buddies. So we've got this WhatsApp group of essentially our super fans. So any innovation that we think of or are working on, we basically just send them all the different types and we just get their feedback on it. But really, like, I guess the key thing for us is trying to identify those tie categories. If we can see a way that we can innovate to just level up what's already there, that's always quite an interesting place for us. And then as long as it's tasty and it's got health credentials to it as well.
So what's coming out?
So we have entered into the lentil crisp space.
Exciting.
Which is very exciting. It's obviously a busy space.
Mm-hmm.
There are great brands and good products out there, but again, leaning on what I just said, we thought we could do it better. The idea for that actually came when I was over in Holland, and I sometimes am that creepy guy that likes to stand in supermarkets and just watch people pick up stuff.
Yeah, no, I love going to foreign supermarkets.
Yeah.
I find it like such a day out.
Yeah, I think it's appropriate stalking. Is how
Appropriate
appropriate stalking. And I remember seeing there was this one product which just had source of protein, and it was just crisp. I witnessed multiple people come in, grab like 3 bags straight to checkout, and I was like, you know where protein is going. Everybody is kind of like, it's just one of the big tick boxes now when it comes to health: calories, protein, and fibre. We've got health. And I'm really obsessed with this idea of kind of pushing crisps into the protein space a little bit more. I think there have been some examples of it, but again, nothing that I've deemed as good quality. So what we've done with the lentils, essentially we've got lentil flour paired with chickpea flour, and created a really delicious base for a crisp, which we've then added, we've got salt, vinegar, barbecue, 2 flavours which we've got in a locker, which we will bring out as kind of limited edition as we go. But I think we've got something really, really strong there. And it's in recyclable packaging as well, which is also great.
Oh, I'm really excited to try those. Ellie,
Ellie.
you might start to
Ellie,
the
come on.
keyboard, get involved, girl. I'll be tapping her up later.
Yeah.
And right, your marketing, I love it. It's so much fun. It ruffles feathers, but it's great. You know, you get lots of press for it. So let's talk about dip picks.
Dip picks.
DIP picks.
DIP.
DIP picks. So talking about your marketing and that campaign.
So I've got to give a nod to my brother Sam. Like, he's always the one that is trying to push the boundaries.
So he works at very much full with it.
Yeah. He's our head of marketing.
Fab.
So I credit him for the brand, the tone of voice that we have, anything consumer facing. Has essentially started with Sam. Now we've got Ellie, and we've just had Hannah start to kind of push us out onto social media. So I'm hoping that fun content is just gonna ramp up now. But the dip picks is, we did a bit of work just understanding when people actually eat the pretzels and how they eat them. So many people coming back saying they like it with hummus, wham, peanut butter, whatever. So we thought, actually, let's do a big campaign around that. So we ended up partnering up with Ramona's, with Holy Moly, and with Manny Life. We came up with these big dip pick boxes, which we sent out to loads of influencers and some of our customers. And then we just went around workplaces setting up the dip pick station and got people trying pretzels with our dips, and then asked for people to send in their dip picks.
Oh my god! I said, what was the best one you got? Hang on, I've got to ask. You know what's funny? Did you get anything that resembled not a dip pick but the other one?
It wasn't as X-rated as you would expect it, but people were trying. You know?
Really?
People were trying, yeah.
I love it.
Which I'm glad.
Yeah, I was going to say, you asked for
I'd be
it.
disappointed with our customers if it was always PG.
Yeah, fine.
But no, it was never anything kind of just
Too explicit.
completely out there. Yeah.
Fine. So what was the best kind of, what do people have it with? Peanut butter, you said hummus.
Peanut butter, hummus.
What's the weirdest thing people have it with?
God, that's a great question. I'm trying to think.
Yogurt? That's weird.
Yogurt would be weird. Yogurt would be very weird. I'm actually yet to find anyone do a weird combination. So there's a shout out. Weird combinations. Yeah.
Like, cause I mean, my head went straight to like, you could maybe throw some butter on it, but that's not that weird. It would be a bit odd, that's really not.
Yeah, my sister does that, and that's a bit weird. That is a bit weird.
It's not like super weird, but it's not like that normal.
I guess you have like breadsticks with butter sometimes. But
do you? I don't do
I'm
mine.
weird.
I definitely
I'm weird.
breadsticks and butter.
Yeah.
I get it though, like that makes sense, but
yeah.
Okay, well, TBC, we'll continue this.
Yeah.
I want to find out.
Absolutely.
You guys have a very strong, how do you marry up, I guess, because you have a very strong digital presence.
Yeah.
How do you marry up your digital presence with kind of all the other marketing stuff, like your events that you do?
Mm-hmm.
What's your tone of voice is, it's loud, it's fun, and very much like your packaging.
Yeah.
So how do you marry up the digital space by making it fun in like the real life as well?
Yeah, I think we've one of our other cheesy taglines is feed or feel good. So I think if you came into the Ollie's office, I hope you would feel that good energy within the place, and I think ultimately that's all we want to exude when people eat the products, when they see the branding. Like, we just want to create that kind of feel good element to it all. So it's just a matter of just like we're pretty carefree. Like, we don't take ourselves too seriously. We just want to make people laugh, and when it comes to the products, as long as they're enjoying them, I think we just want to have a good time with it all. So we've become a lot better at aligning everything and getting it all much more succinct. But it's always a work in progress, really. It's hard to kind of keep everything under one roof, but yeah, feature feel good, trying to keep that kind of feel good element running through everything that we do. That's really the key thing.
And what's your kind of new, if you can share it, your like how are you launching your mental crisps?
Oh god, good question. I don't know if I can share that.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, I've got to keep that.
We'll wait, because that'll be coming out later, so we'll see it.
Yeah, well, I can share. Well, we're doing a pretzel campaign called October Pretz.
Love it.
So we're going to do pairing up with loads of beers, do our own sort of Bavarian pop-up.
That's really good. Yeah, I love that.
So, because again, from that work that we did, trying to understand when people eat the pretzels, I mean, so many people just talking about booze. So let's do something big with booze and get those beers together. October Pretz might get people in some lederhosen.
Oh yeah, definitely. You want to walk down that old street or cross the road, like Beatles, like having it all, like. Yeah, I've got some fun. Yeah.
Well, we've got our offices in Brick Lane, so we've got good places to just walk straight out the office and get stuck into it. Yeah.
How do you see kind of the future of health and wellness like evolving within your sector? Like, what do you think the trends are going to come up for? I know we spoke about your MBD. But yeah, how do you see like Ollie's evolving and the industry evolving in snacking?
Yeah, I think where we've got the brand now, I don't see us touching it ever now. Like, we're so confident with how it looks and how it feels. So I can see and hope and see us becoming a household brand when it comes to snacking. I think going back to what we discussed earlier, like the health and wellness space, it's going to keep growing. Everybody coming through now, every young person coming through, like they're so hot on their health. You can obviously see that with the like low and no category and how that's booming. Like, people care about health, but I think at the same time everybody's becoming foodie as well.
Yeah.
So it really then goes back to that point. It's like, you need to keep delivering on taste, and I think it's going to get quite people that don't deliver on taste within the health and wellness space will fall away quite quickly now. So I think that's going to be a real key one, and hopefully that's what we are championing moving forward. The thing what I found would be could be quite interesting is there's been a lot of neurotropic stuff within drinks.
Yeah.
So like brain health stuff. I've always wondered if that would filter down into food. I think maybe it makes more sense when you're drinking something that your body would absorb what you would hope to hit your brain. I don't know if that sort of thing would come into food, but who knows?
I can see it in like bakes, so in like
bakes maybe.
But yeah, bakes and bars and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I was at a cafe in Westminster on the weekend actually, and I hadn't been there before. And it was a really minimalistic, like quite futuristic looking cafe. And I ordered my coffee and I turned around to like get my lid.
Yeah.
And as I turned around, there were like all these little they looked like CBD pipette thingies.
Yeah.
And one was for mushrooms and one was for brain. And I was like, oh my gosh, and you could
Yeah.
put them in your coffee.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I was like, I've never seen this before. This is really cool.
Yeah, and that's it. So it's like gummies. So stuff like
Yeah.
that, and like leaning into that, and like again, mushrooms you touched upon, and like that's obviously having a massive heyday now.
Yeah.
But I feel like that element of brain health, neurotropics, trying to merge with food could be quite interesting with this.
Well, I mean, you literally did a big, really tough degree in it, and you do have a food brand.
I know. It's
so
just.
I don't know, wild guess, but you might actually have the backing and the clout to potentially do this one.
I don't quite know if we go that deep into the health space.
I know.
It'd be quite interesting. Maybe we do a spin-off brand like Dr. Ollies or something like that.
What would you have there first?
There you go.
That would actually, you should definitely like Dr. Olly's Q&A.
I wonder if the branding would have to change for that. I feel like maybe you've got to go a bit more clinical.
You should do something with that though, that's funny. I like that, that's clever.
We've always talked about, or I've talked about, again, this is another example of our team, but like, Ollie, stop trying to like innovate, like let's just focus. I want to do little Ollies. I want to do like a younger, focused on our brand with kid snacking somehow.
Because mums are powerful beings.
Yeah.
And they will pay for good stuff for their children.
Big up the mums.
Big up the mums, they will not let them eat crap.
Yeah.
Got some quick fire closing round questions to wrap up the interview.
Okay.
What would you give, if you had one piece of advice to give to somebody who wants to start their product or brand, what would you say to them?
I would say do it. I mean, it's so, again, simple, but I still stand by the hardest thing for me was just taking the chance, because now I look back on it, the interesting thing is, it's like, when you set up a business, you are publicly doing it. And there is always that thing in the back of your head, it's like, you never want to publicly fail. So that is always kind of in the back of your head when you're considering starting something up. So it's just do it. And never underestimate the power of a market stall. Like, it's so easy to get they call the MVP, the minimum viable product. Cook it up at home. You don't need to go and like do a 10,000 pack run at a factory. Get 80% of the way there, making it at home. Get it onto a market stall. Just start getting that feedback. And I always go back to Duck Pond Market, and I loved it. It was November. It was raining, and I was standing there on this little like cardboard like setup so my feet wouldn't freeze. But as soon as you get that one customer trying it, and they just immediately buy into what you're doing, like there's something there,
Yeah.
and that you just need to get yourself out there and get people trying it, because then that will just build the confidence. So just do it.
Yeah, in the words of Nike.
Yeah, just do it.
Favourite food or beverage brand at the moment?
Oh, that's a good one. Favorite food or beverage. To be fair, I've got to shout out Jimmy's Iced Coffee. Again, they were massive inspirations for like how they marketed themselves, but what they've done with their new tin coffee can, amazing. And I love their stuff. I love their brands. So I would give them a shout out on the drink side. On the food side, what am I picking up regularly at the moment? God, that's a good question. That is a good question. Do you know what? I will say this is from the Ollie's team, because everyone is raving about Bold Bean.
I've got about 4 in my cupboard right now. I
Yeah.
mean, what have you done to those beans?
Yeah.
They are different
Yeah.
gravy.
So I've got to give a shout out to Bold Bean, because we've done some of the recipes that they whip out are amazing. And
that I can't say it ever properly, but cacio pepe.
Cacio pepe.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Cacio pepe beans.
Yeah. Yeah.
So good.
It's great, and that's across the Ollie team. We're big fans of the beans.
Yeah, hit up me.
Yeah.
You're the best chickpeas, kidney beans, anything. They're really
Yeah.
good. Biggest mistake and what did you learn from it?
Ooh, biggest mistake. Probably holding on to too much for too long. I set it up by myself and ran it by myself for probably nearly 12 months, and at that point you become so protective over it, and I'm not good with accounting. I don't want to deal with the operational stuff, but at the time I didn't want to give it to somebody else because I had fear that they wouldn't do it right when I wasn't doing it right anyway. So there is a lot of power in giving up responsibility and letting people in who are better at it than you. So find out what you're good at, do more of that, and just don't hold on to too much of the stuff which you're not good at.
Yeah, I think learning to delegate is a hard task.
100%.
It's really difficult especially if it's like your baby, this is yours, you don't want to let it go.
No.
Yeah, I can totally see how that is difficult. And then last and final question, death row meal.
Death row meal. I am a Thai cuisine man at heart.
So starter, main and dessert.
I can't go Thai all the way through, I don't think, but I could. To be fair, I would probably start with a tom yum soup. Gotta be spicy.
Yeah.
It's gotta be spicy. And then
not olives to start.
Can they be like the hors d'oeuvre?
Yeah.
Canapes?
Fine.
Yeah. Canapes? Get what you want,
you're
right?
about to, be asleep for quite a long time, so
you
eat your heart out.
Get your olives in. And then this is just fresh in mind. I was in Thailand at the start of the year. There's basically a dish called pad kra pao, which is like a minced. You can do it like minced pork or minced beef, but just like really fragrant, very like spicy.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing that comes to mind. But any of the Thai like yellow curries, all that stuff, I absolutely love. When it comes to dessert, though, I like I've got a sweet tooth, but density is key. I like a dense pudding. So it could be a really dense sticky toffee. It could be a dense brownie.
I was thinking brownie.
It could be a cheesecake. It'd probably be a cheesecake.
Really, a cheesecake?
Yeah.
No, I do like a cheesecake.
Yeah. I'd probably do it like a baked cheesecake.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's not a lot of thickness.
Great sense.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on Getting to Grow. It's been absolutely fabulous to have you.
Thank you very much for having me.